Hi, my name is Krista Razor and we are cooking south of the Mason-Dixon line. Today's menu is sausage, gravy, biscuits, and eggs. Everything you need to make biscuits, you need some self-rising flour. I've got white lily, but you can use your preference. You need buttermilk. You need a little bit of cooking spray for your pan, or you can also substitute lard in that case. I've got bacon drippings here that I use in the biscuits because my family prefers that, but you can also use lard. We're going to be cooking sausage, and we get our sausage from the local butcher, and where it comes in 1 pound packs, and I let it thaw just a little bit out of the freezer, and I slice it, and then we fry it up right here in the pan. And you want this grease off of this sausage because that's what you're going to make your gravy out of. So you keep your sausage turning and you keep it, make sure you get it good and done because we don't want anybody to get sick from salmonella or nothing. And you cook it on about medium heat. As your sausage shrinks, because it will, you'll lose considerable size in your sausage patties. You can add more to the pan and keep it going. Back over here for the biscuits. You need a sifter for your biscuits. You need a bowl. You might as well designate a bowl for your biscuit bowl. Now, you'll sift your flour. And don't worry, it's going to be messy. You will get flour in places you didn't think that you were going to get flour. But it's not too bad. That should be a good amount of flour that's sifted. Now, you'll want to waller out a hole in it. Well, if you want to remove any jewelry. Last thing you want to do is bake a ring. But you want to remove your jewelry and you want to make a hole in the, or waller out a hole in your flour. What goes in this hole? Bacon grease goes in this hole. And don't worry, your hands are going to get messy. This is not for the faint-hearted. Put your grease in that hole. And you take your buttermilk. And you pour it into the hole. And it'll look like this. You mix the grease and the buttermilk together, just lightly with your hands. You may have to add a little bit more milk because you want it to be you want to have more milk than grease. Once you get it to where it's kind of semi-solid, liquidy, more liquid than grease, you start stirring it with your fingers. And stir. And stir. And you rotate the bowl while you're stirring. And you're picking up flour off the bottom and stirring it into the mix. Try not to disturb your crater that you've made. Some of it will fall down, and that's normal, and that's fine. But you keep stirring, and it's going to get thicker and thicker. And this is after a few minutes of stirring. You got it? And then you start picking up more and letting it fall on the sides. Okay? Once you get your batter to where you can see it pull away from the edges of the flour, you know you're doing a good job. Now, what you do with your the sides of your crater, once you get it to this point here, is you flip it onto your biscuit dough, right? Then you go underneath your biscuit dough and you start working that flour into that, a little at a time off the sides. A lot of people will make the mistake of overworking this dough, and that will make a very hard biscuit. If you ever eat somebody's biscuits that the outsides are so hard on them, throw them through a wall, that's why. They overworked their dough. You just want to knead this. Fold it, knead it. Fold it, knead it. And it's a very light touch. It doesn't take much. You don't have to pound this. You don't have to beat it. You'll ruin your biscuits doing that. You just very lightly fold it and knead it. And you're gonna start to see it turn into this. Right? Okay. Now, once you get it to this point right here, a lot of people think, well, I can't work with that, but yes, you can. What you do is you take, you need it to be really soft and pliable. So you take about enough for a biscuit, right? You got it in your hand. You throw it on the side where your crater is. Pick you up a little bit of flour, right? Roll it in your hand. Pat it. And a very light touch. It takes a very light touch for biscuits. Alright, we keep doing that until we get our biscuits all on this pan. Okay? Very light touch. Just doesn't take much. So you want to have your oven preheating to about 450 to 500 degrees. I know that's hot, but biscuits, it doesn't take long to cook them. It takes about 20 minutes in a 450 to 500 degree oven. You don't want to cook them any slower because you'll dry them out and they won't be moist. And don't worry, your first biscuits are not going to be pretty. But you'll get better at it. Okay, now, you're a mess, but it's an easy cleanup. You want to keep, you don't want to throw this flour away. You want to designate a bowl for your flour, for biscuits. What you do is you've got a lot of little crumblies in here that you'll never pick out all the way. I always store my sifter and my flour together because it's the only thing I use this for is making biscuits. When that hardens, you can sift all your flour back through and you'll be able to take out all of the old dough. And you've got reusable good flour right here left in the bowl. Now we're going to set this aside and I'm going to wash up. And we'll start the video back when we get further into the cooking process.